it's flashing. Yeah, right, I've just done this bloody bit and I forgot to, well, I pressed the record button on the camera, but I didn't press it hard enough. That's why I was just double checking that the light's flashing. Right, okay then, start from the beginning. Hello pilots and ground crew, welcome back to my channel. Right, if you're new to GPS, you're gonna love this video. Right, I've been asked once or twice, not much, but I've been asked once or twice, why does it take so long for my GPS to lock into satellites when I've gone to fly? Well, there's no straightforward answer. Basically, it could be the type of GPS you're using, weather conditions, satellite position. It's all the basic stuff, right? However, right, there is, well, it's not a cheat, but there is a way around it to speed the process up, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Because you know what it's like, you get to the field, you plug in your quad, and you sit there for a couple of minutes or 3 or 4 minutes just waiting for your GPS to lock in to get some satellites so you can take off, because your quad won't take off. Well, excuse me, there is a couple of things you can do, but pay attention, especially new pilots, because I would hate you to be flying long distance and you have a failsafe and your return to home don't work. Well, it's just, I'll cover this first of all. Right, if you're a new pilot, on your GPS in your beta flight you've got like a return to home, right? But it's not like the return to home you think of on a DJI Mavic or something like that, right? Whereas it will fly back to you and land on your frigging foot if you wanted to, so to speak. What the beta flight GPS does is, assuming everything works okay, it will stop, it will turn round, it will raise to X amount of height, whatever's set, and it will fly back towards you. And as soon as you signal, like say you flick the switch for the return to home, it won't come back and land. You have to then take the switch off, so to speak, turn the switch off, and then retake control and land it. And it's like if you're flying along and you have a fail-safe, the quad will spin round, go to its determined altitude, and then come flying back at you. Well, if you're not ready to retake control when it regains its signal, it will just come straight at you like a bullet. Alright, so you must be ready to retake control, which is common sense and good practice. Even with a DJI product, you might hit the return to home. Always be ready. Don't just put your transmitter on the floor and think, oh, I'll just have a beer now and wait for it to land. Things can go wrong, right? Things can go wrong. Always be ready to retake control. Okay then, right, now I've covered that little bit. Now getting back to the original thing. A little tip to help you get your GPS lock, alright, quicker and easier. Now the first thing you have to do is go into beta flight. Alright, so jump shot. Okay then, this is what you have to do first of all. Alright, go to your fail-safes. Alright, you will have your GPS rescue turned on if you're using your GPS. Alright, just remember, turn it off if you're flying under trees or in like a car park or something like that, because you don't want to get a failsafe in your GPS and your quad to try fly straight into the trees. You can turn it off either this way, right, or you can just do it in your goggles, right, on your on-screen display settings, but that's a different story. But anyway, right, you've got your GPS on. Come down to the bottom here. Right, where it says allow arming without fix, turn that on. Right, and I also recommend you having the minimum of 8 satellites for a good strong fix. You can add more, but personally I don't recommend you having anything less than 8 satellites, because when your quad if you do use the return to home function, well, it's not exactly return to home, as I said, it's a rescue mode, but if you do use it, the more satellites it had when it first locked in, the better. Okay, so if it had, say, 2 satellites or 4 satellites, it hasn't got a great fix, but if you've got the minimum of 8 or more, you've got a fantastic fix. But that's not what I was telling you about this video, but do that anyhow, minimum of 8 in my opinion. Right, so make sure that this is turned on. Now, rather than looking at this screen, let's go back to that ugly git on the chair. Right then, so you've turned your little switch on. Now, new pilots, what does that do? Basically it means, right, whether you've got a GPS lock or not, you can take off, right, which sounds great, doesn't it? Well, why am I sitting there waiting for ages? There is a downside. If you take off without your GPS lock and you're flying and you have a failsafe, the quad's just going to fall out of the sky. The GPS will not work, right? Even if you hit the return to home button, the GPS will not work. So why am I telling you to do something that causes more problems? Going all the way back to the beginning, I said how to speed the process up of getting your GPS signal working better. Alright, oh, bloody hell, just a moment. There you go. I've got stuff in the background going on. Now, when you first go to the field, you plug your quad in, you might be sat there 2 minutes to 5 minutes waiting for all them satellites to lock in, right? Minimum of 8. I just mentioned that. But if you have that, basically it means you can take off without any satellites locked. If you take off and go to, I don't know, 200 feet, don't go miles away, just above you basically, say 100 foot out, 200 foot up. So you've got there's no interference where the satellites are. Sometimes I found this within about 15 seconds, literally. I take off, I go up, and 15 seconds later I've got about 14 satellites. Right? But the key bit to this is, which is very important, right? Once you've got your satellite lock, land your quad again. Bring your quad back and land it straight away. Disarm, right? And then you can rearm, and that will give it its GPS fix. Don't just take off with no satellites flying about. Oh, I've got 14 satellites now in my OSD. I'll go flying for miles, because if you have a failsafe, it'll fall out the sky because it hasn't got a GPS lock. The only GPS lock it had was while it was 200 foot up buzzing about, so it hasn't got a fixed point. So once again, you plug your quad in, you take off straight away. Right, say about 100 foot out, just to keep it away from you, 200 foot up, or whatever you want. You're above tree height. And you will get a GPS lock a lot quicker. I don't mean bomb about, just hover and wait. The GPS will pick up the satellites a lot quicker. Once you've got the minimum of 8 satellites, bring the quad back, land, disarm, rearm again, make sure the satellites are still there, but there will be. Then just take off and fly as normal, and then you've got your GPS lock because you've rearmed. Okay, if you've got any questions, just leave a comment. But that's a shortcut. Rather than plugging your battery in, leaving your quad on the floor for 5 minutes waiting for the GPS to lock in, that is a shortcut. Okay, just take off, get the satellites, land, disarm. You must disarm, then rearm, then it's got its fixed point. So if you need to use that return to home function, return to home, we've been through that, you've got your fixed point locked, but you will lock onto your satellites a lot quicker if you're about 200 foot in the air, rather than just leaving your quad on the floor for 5 minutes. Okay then, hope this helps. Quick little tip for newer pilots. I know a lot of you who's been flying a while with GPS already know this, right? But most of my videos are for new pilots, to help new pilots. But just remember, and I'm saying it one last time, make sure you land after you've got your satellites, disarm, rearm, or you'll just fail safe and fall out of the sky. And if you're a frigging, I don't know, 25 million miles away, you're never going to get it back. Okay then, pilots and ground crew. Right, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. As I said, any questions, just leave a comment, but there won't be any questions because this is straightforward. Okay then, cheers.